Coming up tonight, highly anticipated and soon to be debated. The former Prime Minister is encouraging Bahamians to be open-minded as government prepares to debate a cannabis bill. Plus, who will reign supreme? This Junkanoo season, there can only be one. Tonight, Brian Adderley says his faction of the Valley Boys will be the only one on Bay. And later, staycationing at home just got a bit more adventurous. A local travel enthusiast breaks down the perfect itinerary for the island of Exuma. These stories and so much more as Our News Weekend starts now. This is Our News Weekend. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm Megan Shepard. Police are tonight investigating the discovery of a 45-year-old male's lifeless body off Collins Avenue. Police tell us that shortly after 8 p.m. yesterday, they were acting on information when they arrived at an abandoned structure on 7th Terrace. That's when they discovered the male's body in a state of decomposition. A post-mortem examination will be performed to determine the exact cause of death. Meantime, police in Grand Bahama are reporting the discovery of suspected marijuana with an estimated weight of 68.5 pounds. That's an estimated street value of $68,500. The seizure occurred sometime around 7:30 p.m. Friday off Explorers Way. Police say drug enforcement unit officers were on mobile patrol when they observed a Japanese vehicle leaving a bushy area that leads to a service road. After checking that area, they discovered a large quantity of suspected marijuana. No arrests were made in connection with this incident. Former Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis is looking forward to the much-anticipated cannabis bill that will be laid and debated in the House of Assembly next week. The bill has been a matter of discussion for the better part of a year now, with much discussion and consultation amongst the Christian, medical, business, agriculture, and Rastafarian faith communities. Dr. Minnis says while many are speculating as to what will be presented, he's encouraging residents to keep an open mind.
I don't smoke, all right? I've never smoked. I don't drink, but I'll give my views on Monday. Lots of people have mixed views. Church have views. You know, everybody have their views. And the bottom line is people have to be responsible. We must be mature enough to be responsible. And there comes a point in time when, just like your kids, you're usually very frightened when they become 18 and then they're staying out later and becoming more independent. You still have that degree of concern and worry, but at the same time, you have to let them go. So we have to let the young people and everybody go. They have to be responsible.
Well, there's also been talks about a possible increase to the current retirement age in the country. This as government continues to look at ways to decrease growing debt at the National Insurance Board. National Insurance Minister Alfred Saird says recently the National Insurance Board has been directed by the government to discuss possibly increasing the nation's pension or retirement age. The latest actuarial report recommends the retirement age be increased from 65 to 67. Grand Bahama Chamber President James Carey is sharing his views on the matter.
I think there'll be quite a serious challenge in raising the age limit for retirement going forward. I mean, 65 is enough. I mean, people would have worked their lives and it's time to enjoy their rewards. So we'll see where they get with that. It will not be conducive.
The Right Reverend Leish Boyd was among hundreds of Bahamians honored in this year's national honors. Reverend Boyd was among 7 others who received the Companion Order of the Bahamas. He sat with Our News to recount the experience.
It's an honor and a privilege to be honored by my country. That's a very special feeling. Of course, one never knows how one is actually going to feel about anything. One accepts and one is happy, but I must confess that since the announcement of the award, I have really felt a sense of warmth and pride and thankfulness that my country has honored me.
Reverend Boyd has served as the 13th Bishop of the Bahamas and the Turks and Caicos Islands since February 8, 2009. Since then, he has established multiple guidelines for the way forward. He says the award has only given him a greater desire for service.
It's only spurred me on to serve my country even more. Of course, I'm in love with the Bahamas. I don't want to be anywhere else, never wanted to be anywhere else, and will continue to give Bahama land my all.
Well, as the summer rolls on, the rift between the Valley Boys Junkanoo organization continues to be a hot-button topic. And with Junkanoo season fast approaching, the Junkanoo Corporation of New Providence assures there will be only one group on bay. Brian Adderley says it will be his faction. Our Joshua Williams reports.
It may be summer, but Junkanoo season is fast approaching. And with groups in both A and B categories beginning preparations for the Boxing Day and New Year's Day parades, the question still remains, which Valley Boys faction will show up to bay? Well, Junkanoo Corporation of the Providence Chairman Dion Miller says while he doesn't have the answer to that question, he assures that only one Valley Boys group will show up on bay.
Sure, I hope that it'll be resolved as soon as possible. We still have that hope. Nevertheless, we have the Valley Boys registered to participate in upcoming parades. Who is the leader of the Valley Boys is not our main concern, but there will be a Valley Boys on Bay Street this upcoming Junkanoo season.
In recent months, an apparent division has emerged in the Junkanoo organization. In late May, a statement was issued by a group that said a Way Forward committee has been formed and that Trevor Davis had been appointed as interim chair for the organization with the goal of elections next year. Shortly afterward, an official statement was released by the Valley Boys saying there had been no change in leadership and that Brian Adderley was still the group's chairman. Also on Labor Day, both factions of the group showed up for the parade. Adderley, who was present during the Independence Day People's Rush, says while there are two groups present, they will be the one that comes to bay.
The group that's registered with the JCMP. We've been participating in parades for the last 65 years. We've never missed a parade, and we intend to participate in the upcoming parades. We're officially registered with the JCMP. We started preparations for the Boxing Day and US Day parades, and we look forward to having a successful parade season.
Leader of the other faction, Trevor Davis, says an election should have been called to clarify the matter. Adderley responds this way.
I don't know what the biggest concern is from the other side, but certainly we're a group that's inclusive. We believe in democratic principles. The Bahamas is founded on democratic principles and the rule of law, and we believe in both inclusivity and democracy.
When asked about when the last election was held,
well, the way we're comprised, we have a board or a management team, and there are elections at the management team level.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Joshua Williams.
When Our News Weekend comes back from the break, some of the biggest names in gospel music coming together for a worthy cause. We'll tell you how you can help. Plus, Grand Bahamas Gumbe Summer Festival in full swing. The details of the signature event still to come right after this quick break.
Are you or a loved one under medical care? Do you need affordable medical supplies? Ports International is the largest home healthcare supplier. Medical supplies at the very best price, and you can even shop online. From hospital beds to wound care, wheelchairs to walkers, Ports is a one-stop shop for your medical supplies, and we accept insurance. We have online shopping and 2 locations to serve you, at the Airport Industrial Park and Shirley Street. We also ship to the Family Islands. Shop online and visit us on Facebook. Call Ports at 377-1771.
We now highlight a Grand Bahamian woman who has been appointed to an international leadership role. In this report, she shares her duties and what this will mean for the country moving forward with our Italia Hall.
The CLGF governs all Commonwealth countries as in terms of local government and its governance, its democracy, and what is happening in each of those countries.
For decades, women have been calling for greater female representation in leadership roles. Now in the 21st century, it appears as if that call has been answered, as we see each and every day women empowered to lead in various sectors. Most recently here in the Bahamas, Chief Counselor for the City of Freeport Council, Frazette Gibson, was appointed as chairperson for the Commonwealth Women in Local Government Network, a role she calls an honor.
It also elevates the Bahamas not just myself, but the country. It speaks volume for what we offer here as women in this country. And the fact that out of all the Commonwealth countries that I would have been selected, it says a lot.
As for her function and duties,
it's a team of us, but of course I am the chairperson. Have responsibility for ensuring that gender equality happens in each and every Commonwealth country. And so one of the first countries that we would have visited or region would be Asia, where we would have seen Sri Lanka, and we would have spoken with the Prime Minister in ensuring that women have a percentage of the elected positions in government, whether it's local and central.
She recently traveled to Asia, where she was able to speak in the capacity of her new role for the first time.
It's quite different going to Sri Lanka because I had like a security detail. And so, of course, I came back to reality when I came to the Bahamas. So there was no driver, security detail. You are treated very differently in terms of local government. You are an elected official. I don't believe the same respect is given in the Bahamas, and that ought to change because the same election process that is done for central government happens for local government.
And she shares why she's committed to doing the work.
My life has been about service. If we help one person in a community, we help an island and we help our nation. And so if everybody looks at it that way, then we will have a better country.
Reporting for Our News, I'm Italia Hall.
Thanks so much, Italia. A local gospel artist is celebrating his 50th birthday, and this year he's doing it big. Recording artist Olsine Jadord is holding a benefit concert this Sunday. He says proceeds from the concert will go toward the opening of his music school, set to come on stream this September.
I am opening my own school, my music school, called Emerge U School for the Creatives. It's primarily going to be about music instruments, young people but between the ages of 7 to 16. We'll deal with the adults a little bit later. But for now, we see a need. Most churches here, they are struggling when it comes to music in their churches for their worship services. And so I figured, let me do my part in trying to assist in that area by starting a school where we begin to develop young musicians from a very young age.
The concert will see the biggest names in gospel music at Agape Church this Sunday. In September, the music school will start as an after-school program, averaging 3 classes per week and eventually grow.
There's just a greater need right now for music in our churches, particularly keyboards, guitars, drums. Also, audio engineering is going to be one of those things, and then production. The reason we want to do it like that because we want to make sure that it's a fast-track system, meaning that the kids can get in and they start learning very, very quickly and in a short period of time, as opposed to the traditional way of learning music. They can begin playing in their local churches in a very, very, very short period of time.
The Goombay Summer Festival on Grand Bahama now in full swing. Our news team taking in all of the action for the kickoff event held every Friday on Tino Beach. And as our Italia Hall tells us, residents and tourists alike showed up in big numbers.
Goombay! Hey, so fun!
The annual Goombay Summer Festival, hosted by the Ministry of Tourism, is back for another year. With over 50 vendors, residents and visitors had the opportunity to experience unique dishes, Bahamian craft, and entertainment. These vendors say the response from the community has been amazing.
So far, it's been going well. Yes, the heat is helping me a lot.
I am creating canvases using local resources, sand, seashells, straw, Bahamian fabric, all unique, one-of-a-kind pieces.
We do the little clutches, as well as we do fans. They're always a hot seller on these hot days.
I do sewing, I have placemats, and you'll notice that all of my artwork have pennies. Since the Bahamas has discontinued having the pennies, I put the pennies on.
The visitors and locals were seen enjoying the festivities.
We're having a great time. We just got here. We're ready to rock and roll. Okay. Very nice. The rain went away.
This is the first day of Goombay Festival, which means every Thursday in July I'm getting great food, especially from the tent at the end. It's the Andres Crab booth. I go there every time.
Attendee Ryan Cartwright shares what he's eager to experience.
Trying to get some nice teas and some nice drinks, some nice food. Looks like the grill pit's pretty popular today. And yeah, just having a great evening out here with the family, enjoying some Bahamian cuisine and some Bahamian music and some Bahamian delicacies.
Minister for Grand Bahama Ginger Moxie is also excited about the event's success.
People are excited. They're happy to be a part of this, and tourism is doing an awesome job on the island, and so we're very, very happy about what's happening.
Reporting for our news, I'm Atalia Hall.
Looks amazing. Thanks, Natalia. When our news weekend comes back from the break, our Jean Joseph has the inspiring story of young Abaconians. We've got the story on their journey to this year's Battle of the Bands. But first,
an Olympian mentors young athletes at a clinic. Find out who next on our Sports Weekend. Welcome back and welcome to our Sports Weekend. I'm Tage Adderley. Last week, Ken Mullings was named to the 2024 Bahamas Olympic track and field team, becoming the first decathlete in our nation's history to ever participate at the Olympic level. Today, he passed some of his knowledge on to some young athletes.
It feels amazing. It feels like a lot of my hard work has paid off, and a lot of the support, the people who supported me in this journey, that really helped out a lot.
That's Olympic decathlete Ken Mullings talking about earning his Olympic bid last week. He partnered with Powerade to host a free clinic today at the old Thomas A. Robinson Stadium, where he shared knowledge about his sport with the next generation.
Because it's a one day, the goal here is to basically go through the normal warm-up and some jump drills, but to help them understand the reasons why we warm up and the thought process of what I go through in these specific drills so they can understand why it's so important.
Mullings will compete in the Olympics in Paris later this month, and he's planning to attack it with everything he has. Great work by Ken. We'll be sure to bring you all the updates on him when he competes at the Olympics in a couple of weeks. Now we're going to head to the Diamond, where Bahamians competed last night. Jazz Chisholm couldn't get anything going out of the leadoff spot for the Marlins last night. He went 0 for 4 with the walk as his Miami Marlins lost to the Cincinnati Reds 7-4. Coach Anton Richardson and his New York Mets squeaked by the Colorado Rockies 7-6 thanks to some heroic hitting from Jose Iglesias, who went yard twice, and Harrison Bader. They won 7 of their last 8 there on a white-hot streak. Texas Rangers shortstop prospect Sebastian Walcott had the night off, but he's playing an MLB Futures All-Star game this evening. That game should be wrapping up right now. We'll have more on that tomorrow evening. Now, Jazz has been the topic of a number of trade rumors. If anything breaks with him, we'll be sure to have it right here. That's a wrap for sports this evening. For our Sports Weekend, I'm Tage Adderley.
Thanks so much, Tage. Well, despite the challenges Abaconians have faced in recent years, resident spirits remain strong, and music has played an instrumental part in uniting the community. Our Jane Joseph brings you a story of hope for Abaco's young musicians.
Young Abaconians, part of the island's urban renewal program, recently traveled to Nassau to participate in the Battle of the Bands, hosted by the Ministry of Housing and Urban Renewal and the Royal Bahamas Police Force. Band administrator ASP Nicole Gilbert says the newly formed band put their show together in 3 weeks, practicing non-stop, with members coming from all over the 120-mile-long island to represent their hometown.
They put in sweat and tear. They had some students come from North Abaco, as far as Cedar Harbor. I had persons who came from Guanakee catching the ferry to come and practice, so they put in some work.
Gilbert says despite the band's crowd-pleasing showing, the program is handicapped and could use the public's assistance to supply instruments and other materials necessary to transform the Abaco band.
A lot of our students don't have their own instruments. Some of our drummers just got their instrument coming to New Providence, so we don't have any funding at this point in time. We don't have any uniform. They just wanted to come here to represent their island, and like I said, I'm so proud of them and so proud of the work they did so far.
Junior instructor David King was part of a team that helped the Abaco band prepare for their New Providence debut. He says the band's growth is inspiring and hopes the program will continue to build on its foundation. He says the band's growth is inspiring and hopes the program will continue to build on its foundation.
Originally, it was supposed to be 2 days. We stayed there and helped out the Abaco band, but we ended up staying 2 weeks just to help them out. And they saw their improvement and they encouraged us to stay, and we wanted to stay. because we saw how much better they got and how much better they could be. It was a great experience, and it's very encouraging to see that not only great things can come out of Nassau and New Providence, but out of the other islands as well. So I just want them to continue it, and I just want to see them build.
Contact the Urban Renewal Program to see how you can empower the next generation of musicians on Abaco and other islands. Reporting for Our News, I'm Gene Joseph.
Great story. Thanks so much, Gene. On the other side of this break, we're headed to the islands. Our Staycation Summer Series takes us on an adventure to one of the most beautiful little islands in the country. Stick with us. Welcome back. Now it's time for a check on temperatures across the country. Meteorologist Ian McKenzie joins us from the Weather Center. Ian.
Thanks, Megan, and good evening, Bahamas. Welcome to your Saturday evening forecast. We're currently outside our studios under cloudy conditions with a temperature of 87. Some isolated thunderstorms out there. Winds east-northeast at 10 miles per hour. Comfortable feels like temperature of 74. Temperatures across the country in our nation's second city, Freeport. We have 85 also in Marsh Harbor, 86 in Governor's Harbor and in Allenstown, Bimini, 88 in Nicholstown, 87 in Great Harbor Key and in the capital. The Central Bahamas continue with those 87s in Camps Bay, Georgetown, and in Arthurstown, 86s in Deadman's Key, and in Coburn Towns in Salvador. In the Southeast Bahamas, we have 86 in Duncantown, as well as Colonel Hill and Matthewtown in Agua, 85 in Delectable Bay, Aucklands, 84 in Abrahams Bay, 87 in Providenciales, Turks and Caicos. Satellite and radar imagery right now, we have this persistent trough that's beginning to move northwards away from our area, but this still should continue to trigger one or two pockets of isolated showers tonight through tomorrow. Elsewhere approaching our area, we have a very active tropical wave, and that should spark some disturbed weather for the southeast Bahamas and eventually move into portions of the central and northwest Bahamas through midweek. Boating forecast across the area, winds a little stiff in the northwest Bahamas, east-southeast 15 seas 3 to 5, low tide at 8:19 p.m., high tide at 2:10 a.m. tomorrow morning. In the central and southeast Bahamas, a caution out there for you boaters. Winds easterly 15 to 20, seas 4 to 7 feet over the ocean. In your extended forecast, expect some showers throughout tomorrow and into Monday, gradually clearing through midweek. Some showers return Thursday. Excellent weekend expected ahead. Those highs hovering around into the low 90s with your lows in the low 80s. That's a wrap in evening forecast. Make it a great, safe, fun night, everyone.
Thanks, Ian. Well, with such warm temperatures, it's time for this week's staycation. We're headed over to Exuma. While small in size, Bahamian travel enthusiast Randy Coakley contends that the beautiful island is big when it comes to adventure.
And I know you're thinking, what is adventure in Exuma? And I said, there's lots of options. For example, there's places where you can literally go drive to the beach and go walking out to the beach, and there are literally turtles swimming for you to interact, feed. So you go to Hoppers Bay and be able to do that feeding with the turtles on your own. You don't need a tour guide, you need a boat, you literally just walk up to the beach, and it's absolutely ideal.
I too got a chance to experience the friendly turtles while visiting the island. From there, Coakley says it's time to head on over to Georgetown.
You're able to do something I think is so cool. You could rent your own boat and captain your own boat. And since it's in Georgetown, it's a really nice protected area, so it's easy for you to maneuver around. So you're able to demand and do what you want at your own time. Now, in case you're not as adventurous as some people, and you're like, oh, I don't really want to drive my own boat, you could be able to get a private boat and still do Georgetown your way. So you can take the whole day. I've done it with friends. I love it. They'll carry you all the hot spots, all the secret places where you're like literally lounging in the water, the sandbars. You can see more turtles, stingrays, and just explore.
Of course, no trip to Exuma is complete without visiting the world-famous swimming pigs.
The original the real ones, I think is a must. And then you're also able, with that tour, you're going to hit a lot of key points like the Iguana Island. And then with that tour, you're still able to do Compass Key, the infamous now nurse shark. So you're able to swim with nurse sharks. You're able to go to the grotto, Thunderball Grotto, and that there in itself is cool. And you're able to do sandbar, and there's so much stuff you're able to do on a full day tour.
But if you're not much of a water enthusiast, then you can fulfill your need for adventure and speed on land.
You're not on the real road, you're on off-road, and you're going through the bushes, and then you're going to end up by water. It's absolutely fantastic to do with ATV on both skirts of Exuma.
We thank you so much for joining us for our News Weekend. On behalf of the entire team, I'm Megan Shepard. Have a safe and wonderful evening.